Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Friday, March 3rd, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with Ring of Honor, which held its first weekly TV card under the Tony Khan regime, streaming on the Honor Club service last night and featuring matches taped February 25th at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. The episode closed with a surprise appearance from Eddie Kingston, who had quit AEW and Storyline after last Wednesday's Dynamite. Kingston issued a challenge to ROH World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, which Castagnoli seemed to reject. The appearance came immediately after Castagnoli's successful defense of the ROH World title against AR Fox in the main event. Claudio pinned Fox after a European uppercut after 15 minutes and 36 seconds for his fourth successful title defense. New Japan Pro Wrestling World TV champion Zack Sabre Jr. also made an appearance, retaining his title via submission against Blake Christian in his fourth defense. Also on the program, Willow Nightingale defeated Lady Frost in Frost's Ring of Honor TV debut, then promptly issued a challenge to ROH Women's Champion Athena for a future match, which Athena accepted.
So, I'm gonna do you a favor, girl, because I am a fighting champion. I am a generous champion. I am going to accept your mediocre offer of challenging me for my title. But when I beat your ass all over this arena, I want you to know, and the world to know, that Willow Nightingale is nothing but porcelain, and she is just lucky enough to be in my division.
In other results, Mark Briscoe pinned Slim J in the opening match, Christopher Daniels pinned Rohit Raju, Konosuke Takeshita defeated Josh Woods, Arya Daivari defeated Metalik, Madison Rayne and Sky Blue defeated the Renegades, and the Kingdom topped the Infantry. This was the first weekly Ring of Honor TV show since April of last year. In All Elite Wrestling news, Tony Khan held a media call yesterday ahead of tomorrow's Revolution pay-per-view event. Khan addressed a wide range of topics during the call, including AEW's new house show initiative, House Rules, set to kick off on March 18th.
That we are a TV wrestling promotion, and the bulk of the revenue and the vast majority of the dates here will be filled by TV wrestling or streaming or pay-per-view specials. And with the rosters expanded, we have more availability, more dates on people, and also I do believe there's the ability to run house shows profitably, but I do think it's very, very challenging to make money on a house show, as we're seeing, and that's why we're learning the economics of it. We're trying to build that division up slowly to where we can do regular house shows and do more of them, but right now it's kind of a stick-and-move situation.
Khan also discussed the trademark he recently filed for All Elite Women.
Yeah, I would love to have that show be a show that gets picked up. I think it is an idea I had for a show, and it's something I would love to do, is All Elite Women, and that's why I filed the trademark, because I think it's a good idea. And we have a great women's roster, and I love to utilize them as much as possible. And anytime we can develop more programming to feature our roster, I think it's something that is a great opportunity for the company and for the wrestlers. And in the case of the women's locker room, I think there's a number of really deserving talent in there, and there's people we feature on TV regularly, and there's even more people I'd like to feature more. So that was the idea behind All Elite Women. That's still an idea I think would be a great thing if it ever gets picked up.
Among other items of note from the call, Khan indicated that Ring of Honor and AEW talent could be expected to cross brands from time to time, but that titles would remain with their respective brands, and feuds would also not cross over. He also addressed the issue of AEW talent taking acting work outside of wrestling, stating that he's fine with it as long as it doesn't negatively impact storylines or the company. In ratings news, AEW Dynamite's audience dropped nearly 20% this week, with 833,000 viewers tuning into TBS last Tuesday night for the Revolution Go Home show, according to Showbuzz Daily, which is down from 1.028 million last week. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic also dropped nearly 23%, coming in at 0.27 this week, as opposed to 0.35 last week, according to WrestleNomics. The show fell from number 1 last week for the Evening in the Key demo on cable TV to number 3 for the week. Nevertheless, the show's performance in Canada was markedly better, with the largest Canadian audience for Dynamite on TSN2 in 6 months, according to Post Wrestling. The episode drew a viewership of 127,300 on TSN2, way up from 76,000 last week, with an audience of 75,700 in Canada's key 25 to 54-year-old demographic, which more than doubled last week's 34,000. It was the largest English-language Canadian audience for Dynamite since the September 7th episode, the day after the controversial All Out pay-per-view that included the media scrum locker room brawl. In Impact Wrestling news, the Bullet Club duo of Ace Austin and Chris Bay became the new Impact World Tag Team Champions on last night's episode of Impact Wrestling, ending the third reign of the Motor City Machine Guns in a match taped on February 25th at Sam's Town in Las Vegas.
Chris Sabin out of the ring, and there's the 1, the art of finesse, and 2, the fold, is it Sweet Bay, legal, jackpot for Ace and Bay in Vegas.
Here are your winners and new Impact World Tag Team Champions, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Bullet Club.
Bullet Club guns down Sabin and Shelley for the Impact World Tag Team titles.
In other results from the show, PCO defeated Trey Miguel by disqualification, Kenny King beat Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Shane Haste. In Major League Wrestling news, MLW's relationship with Reels may be coming to a premature end. The promotion's deal with the cable channel to air its new weekly series MLW Underground, which just premiered on February 7th, is now scheduled to end on April 11th after only 10 weeks. The announcement comes after Reels announced a new partnership with Peacock to carry its linear cable channel programming on the streaming service earlier this week. According to the deal, Peacock would not have been airing MLW Underground due to WWE's exclusivity agreement with the streamer when it comes to pro wrestling content. A report from PW Insider revealed that internally at Reels, MLW Underground programming was listed through April 25th. When reached for comment, Reels told PW Insider, quote, "No decisions have been made by MLW or Reels, and we are both committed to a good outcome for MLW, its fans, and Reels," end quote. The conflict comes in the midst of an ongoing lawsuit filed by MLW against WWE, alleging monopolistic practices, including WWE allegedly pressuring Vice TV to not carry MLW programming. In more streaming news, Apple TV will be airing a new documentary series on the Monster Factory, the groundbreaking New Jersey wrestling school widely recognized as one of the first to be open to the public. The 6-episode series is scheduled to be released on March 17th, according to an official statement yesterday from Apple. The show will follow current Monster Factory owner Danny Cage and the efforts of several of his students to break into the wrestling business. The series has already been filming for several months. Opened in 1983 by Larry Sharp and Buddy Rogers, the Monster Factory is known as a training ground for such future stars as Bam Bam Bigelow, Big Show Paul White, the Headbangers, King Kong Bundy, D'Lo Brown, Raven, The Godfather Matt Riddle, Sheamus, and Damian Priest. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.